So my topic is on victims of date rape. And I chose this topic because obviously it's something that is very prevalent in today's culture. There's not a lot of light that's been shed on this. You know, you hear about it, you hear more, I think, jokes about date rape than you do statistics and hard facts, which anyone who's been a victim of date rape knows it's not funny. It's not something that you should be laughing about. I feel like a lot of the young people take this topic and they get a little bit of education in college with a pamphlet. They might talk to their friends about it briefly after, you know, the meetings that we often have in our seminar classes, and then that's kind of it. It gets shelved. You don't really think about it beyond that. It's crazy because a recent survey that was done on date rape found that more than 45% of college girls do not report sexual assaults that they have. Only 2.6% of the girls who have encountered rape report that incident to the police. And it's a significant problem. We know that it's occurring mostly in college students, mostly women. You know, college administrators are definitely doing the best that they can, I think, to try and stop that issue. Any college course that I've ever had in person, our professors have always brought it up at the beginning of the semester and encouraged us to report any kind of incident that we may feel could be something like rape, or any sexual assault for that matter. I think it's evident that the majority of date rape occurs in bars, usually at parties, or even when you're just out having drinks with your friends. We know that most women are drugged. So date rape issues can get addressed in various ways. Some of those include that the state needs to set better, stronger laws against victims of date rape, or against the perpetrators of date rape, to ensure that the victims have the right to sue their perpetrator and that they have a longer period of time to report that crime, because we know that they don't just jump right up and report it. Majority of the time, they're ashamed, they're scared, they're nervous. So making sure that they have a legal, lengthy period of time to report that crime is really important to making sure that they have their rights protected and that they can seek out justice. We know that victims often don't sue their perpetrator, even after the criminal court. They're, again, ashamed, nervous, scared. They don't want to have to relive that. A criminal trial is incredibly lengthy and stressful to someone who's been a victim of date rape. So to have to do that again in civil court is probably really daunting. But we know that they not only should seek justice in the criminal court, but they should also have some kind of reparation. You can't put a number on that kind of healing, but they absolutely should have the right to sue their perpetrator. They should have the right to do so without having to be present in the courtroom and having someone represent them pro bono. I think that the state needs to do a better job of providing funding for that. Definitely, too, I think that date rape victims should acquire justice where the perpetrators get fines for rape in addition to prison time. The state should be establishing policies where perpetrators have to pay for the medical services of those date rape victims. And they should have zero tolerance practices of sexual violence and assaults in the workplaces that should get practiced and also vocalized each and every day. We know that we absolutely should have already prohibited the sale of date rape drugs such as Rofinol and GHB. There is no reason that these drugs are out on the market. We know that they lead to quick sedation, headaches, dizziness, muscle weakness, and there are other drugs without those side effects that treat what originally these two drugs were made to do. You know, on a different hand, beyond the fact that we know victims don't always have their rights really displayed properly in the court of law, we also know that most of these cases stay pending. They'll never see trial. We know that. That's crazy. We have an overburdened criminal justice system, but I wholly believe that date rape victims have to obtain that justice even when the government fails to speed up the trial process. It's just unbelievable to think that these people are still walking around possibly raping other women in a similar manner, and we have victims who are just waiting for their day in court. Most rape cases end up getting buried, which is a huge problem, as that denies the victim's right to personal justice. The government, when they do finally see those trials come up, we don't have harsh enough penalties. We don't even have the death sentence. So someone can potentially go out and have multiple date rape cases, multiple rape cases against them, get sentenced, serve time, and then continue to do it. And this time with more knowledge, with more time to prepare for those crimes and potentially not get caught. We know this facilitates the increase of date rape by not having those harsher penalties. We know that sex offenders often force their victims to conform to sexual and gender stereotypes. This increases a woman's vulnerability to sexual assault. Sexual violence is obviously profoundly negative, and it's a traumatic event with widespread psychological and sociological effects. And that's irrespective of their gender. And especially with, so many people not knowing which gender they conform to in today's day and age, this is a whole new set of psychological problems. There's a lot of trauma that can be brought on just by that. So it's really important that advocacy efforts are focused on that. As far as what we can do, prevention programs targeting college women should get established. They're already kind of being established, as we know. We need to increase that. We need to increase the awareness of rape, educate efficient approaches to prevent rape, and we really need to enhance sexual communication. That fear of being able to vocalize what's going on sexually or what may have happened and you're not sure if it's okay, we need to be able to talk about that. Secondly, I think rape crisis counselors should work directly with the victims to explain their rights, what they should be expecting from the system. We know it's not set up to be fair, it's not set up to be easy. Your victim needs to know that. They need to know that going forward so that they can pursue justice and not get afraid halfway through the process and drop charges. We should be helping the victims obtain medical services, offer emotional support, and most importantly, we need to maintain their privacy. This is not something that we want their names blasted on, the local college headline. Lastly, I think it's really important advocates enhance forensic evidence importance to get collected within 72 hours of the incident. Law enforcement's overwhelmed, they're overworked, they have a lot going on. Getting that forensic evidence should be priority number one. You have 72 hours to collect it. Beyond that, it's gone, just like that victim's chance for justice. Beyond that, things, obviously, advocates, we know that they can go with the date rape victim to court. I think that that's something almost all of them do to help that victim have info both with the legal process and just have that support. That's really important. Support is huge, both from the victim's family, friends, the legal system. We've got to be there. That's our job. If you are an advocate, you need to provide that support to these women. Mostly to conclude, a woman should let herself be the man's worst nightmare if needed, because women are more than sex objects. We need to abolish that culture of date rape and destroy it, and now is the time. Thank you.